at her.
I
What,
hate
if
that
you guys-
mentality.
Yeah, get out of here.
If what?
What?
You're saying keep going if the girls give you a dirty
Go
look?
for
What
it.
if he's shy?
Sugar,
what
are you being real right now?
Yeah,
If
no,
the
she's
girls
not.
give
She's
you a dirty
messing
look.
with you.
If you like her, you like her.
It's just giving.
Perfect.
I'm trying to get back into dating, but I'm having a hard time meeting new people. Why am I so scared of approaching people I'm interested in? Does online dating play a role in my fear?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not the one.
Yeah, just show it off. Show it off.
I'll give some input, I guess.
Show it off.
I could.
I'm not the one. Sorry. Now all of us are there, man.
Big cup, David.
Okay, calm down.
No, I can
I'm
see.
young.
To be afraid to approach someone that you are interested in, it's just I feel like that's always the fear of like getting shot down.
Yeah.
That's it. I feel that's what it's for that person to say no, and you're out there looking stupid. I
think it's more than that though. I think it's also because like we're very much a social media culture. We got Twitter fingers. We're gangbanging on social media, but we're not gonna pull up in person. So I think it's a lot harder to talk to people in person. Is this like a context of in person or online? Because online it's easier to message people through like social dating apps. So in person it's a lot harder, I feel, because we haven't really normalized the idea that we spend time with each other anymore. It's mostly through our phones. So we normalize that type of interaction and we know how to navigate that way. But being in person with somebody, it's kind of different. So it's harder. And I think it does involve rejection, but I think it's also because we're so dependent on using social media to connect.
I think using more dating apps makes it harder for you to approach somebody in person.
Yeah, 100%.
Of course.
Relationship
Like,
ADD.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just ADD, right? Like
That's a
you
term.
just you don't know
Coined it
how
right
to
there.
socialize anymore,
Yeah.
right? Like
Relationship
when was the
ADD.
last time you struck up a conversation with any stranger, let alone someone you're interested in, right? Standing in line at the grocery store, you're going to go grab a cup of coffee, whatever it is, right? When was the last time you had a conversation with anybody around you that isn't somebody that you know?
Oh, I do it all the time.
No, I think
No, it's great for you, but I mean, like this person.
No, facts.
Yeah,
True,
right. You know
true,
what I mean? Like by
about
only
me.
socializing online, you forget how to socialize in person. Like
A lot of
practice
people,
with the stuff with people that you're not interested in, just regular people where there's no vested interest. You'll get better at being able to talk to somebody you're actually interested in. Like I don't think that apps are
The way.
But do people prefer that though?
No,
That's what I'm saying.
But I think people who are like heavily on social media, particularly the younger generation who grew up with it, rather than say myself who was there half of my youth and then it just kind of plugged in. But so people for that, I think they're still very social. They're very social. I mean, I'm around that group a lot. I was a youth worker for years, and then I do have a sister who's a teen. So I am kind of in that age group a lot, and they're very social. They're very funny. They
Yeah, but I feel like within their own realm.
But no, within their own group.
Yeah, that's
no,
what I'm saying.
they're able to like. You can't really generalize them. I have worked with students like that were placed in my job, and they're like 17, 18, 19, and they're super social. I had one even come up to me, and she was like this a lot. But then when she puts that down and she's working, she even came up to me. She's like, I say hi to a couple of people here, but they don't really say hi back. She's trying to network, build relationships, and she's at a placement, and she's complaining about people not saying, complaining to me about people not saying hi back to her. And, and then there's another student I work with now, and she talks so much actually, and to everybody at every level. It doesn't really matter. So I think you can say that about every generation. You can't really generalize. But I think the way that what's changed is how they holla at people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We didn't have that. So we didn't have that. So they are still social, but it's just like there's just a different way to holla at people. So the same way I think my parents' generation, there was a set way of how you holla at people. And then with our generation, we kind of, I guess, had to go and talk to people. And with our parents' generation, they bump into bump into each other at the grocery store and like talk to people. They didn't really have these things. Someone actually, one of my like older white colleagues told me that they have heard about this store, a grocery store where you grab a cart and you can like put a flag up to show if you're single or dating or like not interested. And then,
actual grocery store like this?
Yeah. I feel like that can create a lot of problems, like stalking, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as it's all safe.
On what? The whole, on what part?
Whatever, like sliding through whoever's DMs, going on apps, who cares as long as it's all safe and respectful.
Yeah, but I think
you said
yeah, it's definitely like I think a part of it is a fear of rejection, but I think it's also a lack of confidence, right?
100%, 100%.
If you if your confidence is rooted in something superficial and it's off, like you're not gonna want to talk to anybody. If your confidence is just lacking in general, you're not going to want to talk to somebody. Like that fear of rejection comes from a lack of confidence, because people who are confident, we see them all the time, and like a lot of the times we don't understand it, but these people who just don't take no for an answer, there's a confidence they have in them, whether we believe in it or not, that they have in themselves, that like, who cares if this person says no? And so build the confidence, spend a lot of time alone. And when you're comfortable in your own skin, spending time with yourself, doing things that you love and for yourself, you really start to find the value in you past the superficial things. And once you start to do that, you attract people who see that in you and help build that up even further than you can do on your own. And it really just goes from there. It's a lot of patience, it's a lot of loneliness, but if you push through it, it's the most rewarding thing that you can do.
Do you think it's a guy's job?
No.
Oh, that's a good.
No, I don't think so.
That's
do
a
you
good
think,
one.
like, I know that only works with like hetero couples, but is it a guy's job
to do the holiday?
To go and talk?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But a lot of people do have that perception that it's actually the guy that should come and talk.
But then, so like, I like to have this conversation with my girls, right? Of like, you know, you want to be in control of your life, of what happens, like when it comes to your work, when it comes to your education, when it comes to, but like, you can't go say like hello or smile at a guy. Like, even if you don't want to initiate a full-on conversation, just make yourself physically open to the conversation.
That's
you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good one.
You need to also have an active role in it if you want to have an active role in the outcome of it. And so, you know, you need to be comfortable in what you're doing. I wouldn't say put yourself in dangerous situations, but have an active role in it. Whether it's presenting yourself open or initiating the conversation or whatever it is, make yourself available if that's what you want. You know, and we've all seen these girls who like mean mug or like 100%. Won't make eye contact and then come home and be like, these guys aren't talking to me. Like,
it's like, well, look
it's
at
not
you.
Exactly. And it has nothing to do with your physical looks. It's about your body language.
Yeah,
you're very
right. That's
closed
what I meant
off.
by
You got your
look at
arms
you.
crossed. You're not smiling.
A huge
you don't
percentage
look like you're having a good
of
time.
communications
Like,
through body language.
I barely want to talk to you, and I'm here with you. You know, like.
Why did I stop him? Holla at her.
I
What,
hate
if
that
you guys-
mentality.
Yeah, get out of here.
If what?
What?
You're saying keep going if the girls give you a dirty
Go
look?
for
What if he's shy?
So
what
you're
kind
being
of
are you being
thing?
real
No.
right now?
Yeah,
If
no,
the
she's
girl's
not.
giving you a
She's
dirty
messing
look.
with you.
If you like her, you like her.
No,
If she's giving you a
Oh
dirty
my
look.
God. You're acting up. You're acting up.
Dude, it's funny.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, no, overall, let's just say for the person who obviously who has that fear, and let's just say social media does play into it. I really think it does, because you're wrapped in this world, and a lot of people say it's addiction now when you're on your phone. And now you become so secure in that bubble.
And when you get out of it.
And when you get out of it,
you're
it's just
more
like you get that social anxiety.
Yeah.
And now when you come up to it, and it's just like, ooh, can I approach that person? How's that person going to perceive me? Oh, I don't look good today. That person's not going to look at me. So it comes down to a lot of, obviously, with the confidence that you have, your self-perception. And on top of that, what you've been doing throughout your, like, majority of your life now. You put yourself in a bubble, and you're interacting with others where it's comfortable. No one sees the way you're interacting, your body language. No one sees that. And the majority of conversation, communication happens through body language. It's not verbal. It's
I
body
don't think
language.
that I don't.
100% it
I don't
does.
think being on social media all the time or on the computer all the time hurts your social game or your social level. I think if you're having a problem, if you're having a fear, I don't think it relates to that. It's hard, especially when you're in a particular community that judges each other. So if you're kind of like closed off, and there's a lot of like cultural barriers. So people want like women to open up. But I find that if you're, and I'm speaking like, especially from the Somali community, like there's pressures put on you of how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to act, who you're supposed to be seen with, and like the caliber of person that you're supposed to be with. And a lot of it, those expectations don't even make sense, right? It's just like, can't date. When are you getting married, right? So, but I do think like, I do agree that you can't complain about your singlehood if you're not actively seeking a
Yeah.
partner.
Put yourself
You know
in
what
a
I mean?
position to mingle
Yeah.
and talk to other
Yeah.
people.
But
Exactly. So, and I think like there was years where I would always be like, okay, yeah, I like that guy. I'm just gonna holler at him. And then my friends would be like, please don't do it. Don't do it. You're not supposed to. Don't do it. And that always discouraged me. And afterwards, I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
So I recommend that. And I've had lots of success.
But I feel like there's a whole lot more to that.
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
just
there's
go
also
for
like
it.
a fear of
So-
You just
commitment
go for
sometimes
it.
too.
Yeah.
If you have a fear of commitment, you should not be dating.
Yeah, but I'm saying people want something, but and then there's a fear of commitment sometimes that come with it.
No, you need to work on what that issue is. You cannot be bringing that into a relationship that you've initiated with another person. It's not their responsibility to deal with your problem like that. If that is what you have, do the work.
But I
Mhm.
think
But
it's
that's
also
like-
thinking
like-
of
Go ahead.
specific types of relationships. So that's harmful because not everybody wants a monogamous relationship. So why should they not be looking?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying, like, if you have a fear of commitment,
Mm.
do not commit to someone knowing you have that fear of commitment. It is not their responsibility to change your mind on what commitment is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But
If you have a
dating-
feel, pardon me?
Dating isn't like a commitment though. Like you can be like
No,
dating
but
around
be honest
like
about those intentions
know,
is what I'm saying, right?
like this. But you don't. Not everyone knows like what their intentions are. Some people are really just like putting themselves out there, meet someone new, and like see what's gonna happen, right? So like you
Mhm.
can have, and I think like I agree that a lot of you shouldn't bring commitment issues into a relationship, but I
Mhm.
also acknowledge that like in reality, like majority of people have commitment issues,
Mhm.
and like that's gonna be brought into relationships.